Hi, welcome to the Champ We Are United podcast, the number one football comic based podcast, bringing to life the United verse from the wonderful Champ comic, whilst we also delve into the world of Roy of The Rovers. I'm not sure this episode is going to be a Project 917, but we might
Oh,
take a trip into the TARDIS. I'm your
oh,
host, Paul Richardson, the tangential one, and this is episode 107.
Yay!
well, there was a
107
little pause. I wondered if
goes
they'd
in
get
the
anything.
reel.
So you can already hear them, as always. Let me introduce you to my fellow team members. And again, we've got the return of a very special guest. So let's start off. More than a safe pair of hands, or dare I say it, the safest hands in soccer, it's none other than mute button Matt Richards.
Hello there. Oh, tangential one. Excellent. Very good introduction. Must have been working on that for weeks.
Yeah, he's
Oh,
been
at least the
fantastic.
last 3 weeks for this, if not, say, 5 minutes, just before we
Right,
came on
actually,
and I found out I was hosting.
No, good to be here.
yeah,
And yeah, hello, listeners.
that's very true, isn't it? I mean, the listeners might have been listening to an episode with no one hosting, which would have been good.
Could have been an interesting. Maybe that's one for the future. Well, he's virtually introduced himself anyway, but next up is our founding member. It is none other than the Podfather, the dulcet tones of Goal, and 1,000 voices of people that are no longer with us. How are you tonight, Goal?
Well, that's nearly right, isn't it? The voice of a thousand. No, I've forgotten it now. Hey!
A voice of 1,000. Oh, God, the voice of 1,000 voices. Oh, I've lost it myself. Most of them
Most
are
of them
dead.
dead. Yeah.
That's the bit, yeah.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, listeners. I missed the last episode. It's nice to be back. And yeah, hello. Whee!
Hey. Right, next up, it's his second appearance. He's a very special guest. I was devastated to miss his first appearance. It is none other than Ian Golden, sorry, the
That's all right.
master of the United verse timeline. Hi, Ian, and
Hi, great to be
welcome
back.
back.
Yeah, great to be back, and great to finally speak to you. We actually communicated in the old-fashioned way before, so
No,
yeah,
exactly.
fantastic.
It's only ever been via text. Be
Yeah,
careful
exactly.
because I don't know what your plans are after this pod. I've only got 1,052 questions about your timeline, but we won't
Fair
do
enough.
that in the pod. That's brilliant. So that's the
Shall
team
we,
tonight.
isn't it time for Ian's theme tune?
Can do. Go for it.
Golden Ian, friend of the show. He's come back to share what he knows. Came once before. We didn't think we'd hear from him again, so yeah. Back on the line. Hello, Ian, you're fine.
That's good enough. That's really
I made
good.
that up as
Thanks,
I went
Scott.
along.
Appreciate that. Yeah, brilliant.
I've done better.
They don't call him
Yeah,
the
well,
Podfather for nothing.
I'm sure you're
Well, don't
prepared
call me
for
the
that.
Podfather, to be honest.
Quick, lock the doors. Make sure Ian doesn't escape.
Exactly.
I'm sure you're prepared for that as long as Tangent prepared for his.
Do you know something, Ian? That I don't want to give away the trade secrets, but the sad thing is, trust me, Goal will have been working on that for about the
Oh,
last 50 episodes. But
fair enough
anyway,
then. Okay.
well, back to the show. As I'm sure you'll all figured out, we're not quite a full squad tonight, but I can't substantiate the following rumours that Bygone is stuck in the back of a comic book shop under a pile of summer specials.
Oh, yeah.
Luscious Locks is not stuck in a barber shop with Alex Hedgehog Jones. He's
All right,
going
lad.
through the multiple pictures on the wall, deciding what it is that they should get. And of course, the voice of reason, Simo. I'm not sure what we can deny this or where we stand legally, but is he sorting out all the VAR issues from the FA Cup final and of course that controversial late goal at Old Trafford yesterday for Aston Villa? Of course, the VAR officials need a voice of reason. Hopefully, the three of them will return from their endeavours and we'll see them in episode 108.
The thing
Oh,
is,
that's
Simo could be here. He's just got bad Wi-Fi connection. We'll never. He's probably here.
yeah.
Probably here for the last
Do you
two.
know what? I
He's
do
just trying to
keep
get
on
through.
hearing this weird noise. And something goes along the line, something like hedgehog, corner, flag, cross. But anyway, yeah. Well, that's our squad tonight for episode 107. And I'm going to move swiftly onto our running order and reveal what's going on. So first up, we're going to have the social media feedback, or Melvin's musings, as we like to call it, from Matt. And then our special guest is going to treat us to yet another fantastic feature. And it's this time, it's football in the Doctor Who comics, brought to us by Ian Golden. Then, Matt, I believe you've got Safest Hands in Soccer story for us. Then we're going to go through a collector's corner, and I really can only apologise to all the listeners and those of you that view on YouTube. I don't, with the absence of Bygone Berrigan, don't think there's going to be any summer specials featured in the collector's corner. But I'm sure we'll be back with loads of stories of those in future episodes. And then, of course, it's the social media, and we shall do our reflections, maybe tell you what we've got lined up in future pods as well. So, Ben, without further ado, as a goalkeeper these days likes to do, just knocking it inside the old 10-yard or 5-yard box. Crikey, I've really lost it tonight, haven't I? An angle to mute button to bring us the social media feedback.
They don't do that down Millwall.
I could see. Do you know? I could see you were like slow build up, knocking it into the goalkeeper, past it inside the penalty area. What's this?
We hung up. Right. Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much, O Tangential One. Right. So yeah, feedback from last episode, which is episode 106, where we did Football Family Robinson. As you say, Bygone did the Hotshot Hamish story from the 1984 Tiger holiday special. Did a collector's corner. So the feedback is from the Melvster himself.
Hey.
Go.
Whoa! It's Melvin's musings.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
I wasn't sure where he was going with it.
I wasn't.
It was classic.
So Trevor says, Champ We Are United's pod squad show strength in depth and roar to victory. With the Podfather, Simo and Ridders all ruled out of episode 106, Tangent Paul again demonstrated the value of having utility players throughout the Champ We Are United squad. The Tangential One not only captained the side, he also seamlessly slotted into Simo's United verse role and duly delivered a double yoker with part 7 of the We Are United story. A double yoker. Look at his face.
He knows how to get me excited, doesn't he? He does.
Oh, God, what a sad individual you are. Indeed, this muser is only just recovering after Tangent turned the Champ Tower's excitement meter all the way up to 11 during his coverage of Riverton's away clash with tough tackling Newsham and must-win home fixture against an improving Sandwell City side. Although the final whistle hasn't yet been blown on the season, Bygone Berrigan was on the beach again as the Judith Chalmers of the pod presented another memorable Tiger holiday special story. Budgie smugglers at the ready. Bygone this time whisked us off to the Hebrides to join Hotshot Hamish, or Hamish. I say Hamish.
Hamish.
But what was forecast as a peaceful post-season vacation until her father, together with his young musically inclined son, rocked up in their camper van and created something of a storm. Yeah, there's more about the Hamish controversy later. We've had feedback.
Yes.
You say
coming on to
that. I say Hamish.
Thank you. However, it turned out nice again. Cue George Formby impression.
Turned out nice again. He's a big bugger, isn't he?
Bloody Trevor's even queuing you up. Okay.
Don't forget your George Formby grill.
Oh, God.
After a football shooting match proved that Hamish is the daddy. Nice one, Bygone. Meanwhile, it was a family affair for Mute Button Matt as he turned genealogist and traced the ancestry of the football family Robinson. The Robinson lineage began in Jag before the comic tied the knot with Tiger. Further marriages of comic convenience followed before the Robinson family eventually settled down in Roy of The Rovers. Amazingly, perhaps, the Mutester discovered no less than 2 Football League Cups amongst the family silver. Mute Button Matt presented the colourful life of the Robinsons with such aplomb. Rumour has it the BBC are attempting to woo the pod star away to present the new series of Who Do You Think You Are? Watch this space, musers. You're unplayable, lads. I feel a Poznan coming on. And that from a United fan as well.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Can I just add about Football Family Robinson? There's been a real life version, in a way, in Australia, the Gold Sphinx.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they loads of them that played rugby league, and for one game only, all of the players who played in a benefit match for their mum, stroke aunt, whatever, because of how much she's done for rugby league. So they played against another team, and all 13 were Gold Sphinx.
Wow.
So it has happened in real life, but in rugby league, not
Blimey.
just as a one-off benefit game.
Did one have a bowler hat on?
I haven't seen the
did the other-
photos. I know one of their
Okay.
ancestors. He used to be in Heartbreak High, and his one of his cousin was recently in Super League. But
Well,
ladies and
interesting.
gentlemen, new theme tune coming. Did it boom, bada bum bum bum. It's a golden nugget.
gotta be done. Got to record that one.
Brilliant.
Oh, dear. Brilliant stuff. So thank you very much, the Melvster. Over to the Champ We Are United site. So feedback there from a guy called Ian Golden. Anyway, he says his name is Super Dunk
Name rings
Fraser.
a bell, but I'm
Name
not
rings
sure
a
who
bell.
it is. Yeah,
Never heard of him. Yeah, never heard of him. Well, actually, Ian, you might want to do this yourself. His name is Super Dunk Fraser. He's sharp as a razor. Do you know the words?
His name is, I don't remember, Super Dunk Fraser. He's sharp as a razor. He plays for midfield for United. When he walks down the street, all the people he meets, he said, "Hey, big boy, what's your name?" "My name
is Super Dunk Fraser. Yeah, okay, brilliant. Look at that.
Bygone Berrigan, that's how it's done.
I love that.
If you like a bit of chocolate on your, I don't know, yeah, that's the way it's done.
So that's adapted. That was adapted from a Barmy Army song, wasn't it? For
It
Angus
was
Fraser.
about, Angus Fraser. That's
right,
right.
Yeah. Brilliant. And Tommy Robinson, the new manager. Yeah, I know, a bit controversial, very dodgy. Let's let's move on. I think from I don't want to give him any airtime. Richard Woods, Football Family Robinson has links to Jack and Jimmy and Bobby of the Blues, crossover teams, and they play Thames Bank in the League Cup final. Great universe building.
Brilliant.
Thank you very much, Richard.
Stuff. Which puts it in United verse.
Is it?
I'm sure
United
it does.
verse.
Bobby. Oh no,
Bobby of the Blues, Liverpool. You're thinking because they're Liverpool City.
Sorry.
Controversial.
I quit.
And there's your first one for your bingo cards. Calling out.
Eyes down.
Eyes down. I quit. Line one.
George Prince.
Hey, come on.
Prince
talking.
He's got feedback.
I should have done too. His feedback is nothing to be scared of.
Yes, just a little bit of a hint there. Well done. Good,
done,
great stuff.
Done.
George says, another great episode. I'd always seen Football Family Robinson and thought I must read that. Looks like fun. Now I'm going to read it soon because of your review. I'm reading The Hard Man at the moment, and it always puts a smile on my face, especially Victor Boscovich. I look forward to 107.
Yes.
Thank you very much,
we're
George.
here.
Yeah, we're here. So I hope things are good over there in the US with you, George. And Adrian Lord. You from the House of Lord?
Everybody in the House of Lord. Everybody in the House of Lord. One house.
One Lord. Everybody in the House of Lord. Sorry.
Wow. But it's nice to know we're returning to the classics in this episode.
Sometimes you've
Tell
got to put the
you
bangers
what,
out, haven't you?
some of the remixes weren't that great, but here we are, back with the classics.
You get to the finish there, did I?
No one likes cover versions, do they? And
No.
I just went ahead and did that, so I do apologise.
Yeah, exactly.
Adrian says, great podcast as always, guys. I really enjoy the United stories. I'm a bit shocked by the pronunciation of the name Hamish. Yeah, I know you weren't the only one, Adrian. Clearly, you never watched Take the High Road as a kid.
Hey.
I never read Football Family Robinson, but I will catch up with it. Have you guys thought about doing a shoot-type player profile, but on you as presenters, e.g., car you drive, favourite food, etc., etc.?
I'd forgotten that. Yeah, we said we would. I think we'll have a little crack at that. Actually, yeah.
Might have a bit of a laugh with that.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. I'd say favourite artist Lionel Richie, favourite food steak. It's all the same.
Bloody hell, do you think you are?
Favourite TV programme, The Professionals.
It's always that, isn't it? It's always that. John Evans.
Oh, Evans is a person who comes on the podcast and gives us feedback.
There's a picture of John. Thank you, Goal. Lying on the sunbed, saying, "Listening now in Phuket." Like I said,
Ooh,
Phuket, wasn't it?
yes.
My
Can I have some rice with that?
my wife's just asked why have I brought my nerdy shit on holiday?
Oh, do you know what? I'd forgotten
John's
when I
wife
read
gives,
that.
gives the best
chuckle.
reviews, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, she does. Yeah.
She's brilliant. She lets us know what she thinks of us.
Everyone's a critic.
Exactly.
And Richard Woods gives us some more feedback. He says a bit of information on Dozy Danny, because I mentioned Dozy Danny was in the Hotspur annual, which I got. Yeah. He has strips between 1960 and 62 in New Hotspur, and his story was retconned in 1982.
Oh, wow.
Has
Interesting.
slight United links, as played for Manchester United.
Yeah, well, I know that's what I know you like to refer to it as the United verse goal, and I don't want to start controversy already in 107, especially as we've got a very special guest with us. But that's why I call it the DC Thompson world, because that's where those kind of teams and that live, right?
Mm-hmm.
Finally, Twitter.
Cool.
So we have feedback from Hamish Witter.
Hamish Witter, who has a brilliant Twitter.
He goes,
hang on, he's got a theme tune, remember?
oh yeah, go on, sorry.
Oh, it's Twitter and Twitter.
He says, "Bygone is dead to me."
Brilliant.
He said, "My mum would be horrified if she heard him mangling the fine name she gave to me." There you go.
Well,
So
in all
controversial.
honesty, I should have said it in the intros and about. In actual fact, we have had to take Bygone to the side, and like referees, when they have some bad games, they often get demoted, don't they, to the division, and we've suspended Bygone for this episode, to be quite honest. He was available, but we said no. You've got to serve a punishment.
There are certain standards we have to abide by.
We have to abide, and we cannot have our friends of the show feeling such that they feel that they have to mention this in the feedback. So no, we've had to be firm but fair, and it is a one-pod suspension. So
yeah, that's fair enough, and I get that. I mean, you know, we don't want people coming on here saying the wrong names now, do we, Mitten Butt Matt?
No, we don't. That's a yellow card for you as well.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, but I've already quit twice.
Yeah, well, don't worry. It's on the bingo card 5 times. It's just for a line. But there you go. Right. Fantastic, Mute Button. Thank you so much for the feedback. And as we always say, brilliant to hear from all of our listeners. And of course, those of you that are brave enough to actually look at our faces on YouTube. I'm not sure how we can all reward you for that, but there you go. Before we move to the next feature, I'm actually going to go off on a slight tangent, and I do apologize, Ian, because it just came to me when you did that fantastic update about the football family Robinson, because of course I know you work and do a lot of stuff involved with rugby. So I'm going to go off on a slight tangent and just ask you, so would you be familiar of the Tough Game story in Tiger?
Yeah, definitely. I've got the full collection of that. I've recently been rereading. I haven't read it for a couple of months now, but fairly recently. Of course, I think it was done by the same people as Hamish and Mouse as well. So it's got that similar style to it. It is good because it's set firmly, obviously, of its time in the 1980s. It was still 3 points for a try then. I think an industrial small town, which actually was noted in one of the annuals that it didn't have a football club, so they see their rugby league club as the heroes, and they played sides like Wigan, for example. And I think there was one where they did get to the Challenge Cup final at Wembley. So I really enjoyed it.
Brilliant. Well, I tell you what, I might discuss with the guys because I know we got football, but I think actually, Ian, you know, if you're looking for a third appearance, I would definitely, because I do remember the Tough Game, and I have to say, it's one of the few stories that's not football related that I did actually read myself. So it just triggered me straight away there.
Great idea.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that would be a lovely feature if you're interested in a third appearance. If you can put up with the smell of all the dead bodies in the studio as they give us our little snippets from the corner. We have brought in a few extra air fresheners for you. Anyway, with that, so thanks, Ian. And it's going to be over to you because you're
Yep.
going to take us through some Doctor Who specials when
I
he
certainly am. Yes, yeah.
moves into the football world. Go
I'll
for
share
it.
my screen in a moment so that, in fact, I'll start to share it now because my intro's on the screen as well. So if I can find the right thing for the benefit of others, here we go. So I need to start the slideshow now.
Yeah, brilliant.
From beginning. Here we go. There we go. Right. So I'm going to talk about Doctor Who and football. I'm going to go away from this nice intro screen in a minute because I don't want to show you too much, but this is just my intro to it. So first of all, I just got to explain about the Doctor Who comic strip because not a lot of people, or a lot of people may not know about that there is a Doctor Who comic strip, of course, because there may not be many Doctor Who fans who listen, and not all Doctor Who fans know there's a comic strip. So there we go. But it actually started just a year after the show started in November 1964. And it's apart from the odd monthly, it's a monthly now, apart from the odd monthly break, and I think a few months during COVID and stuff like that, it's been going at least once a month ever since. So it is one of the longest running comic strip. It started off in TV comic, went on to TV action, then back to TV comic again, until 1979 when Doctor Who Weekly started, which was produced by Marvel UK. It then evolved into Doctor Who Monthly and then Doctor Who Magazine because it's now 13 times a year, every 4 weeks. So it's not actually a monthly. So that's the reason for that. There's been other things, but other comic strips produced as well. Doctor Who, they did the annuals in the 60s. There was a special prequel to the Daleks, for the Daleks on telly, with a whole big Daleks comic strip, which appeared weekly. And I shouldn't have went too far there. Sorry, I'll go back to that in a moment for those watching. And there have been a few other things as well. From the Americans started producing them at the time of the 10th Doctor, IDW, and that license went for a few years before Titan Comics took over. And the BBC have produced a number of their own as well in the annuals, which have been going for about, well, nearly 20 years now.
May I add something?
You can, yes.
The first American appearance of a Doctor Who strip, not necessarily correct because we've touched on the first American appearance with Tom Baker in previous podcasts. But there was an adaptation, a comic book adaptation of the Doctor Who and the Daleks.
There was,
Peter Cushing. So that's quite interesting, but they're quite rare to get.
They are.
And my specialist subject, I don't know if you'll be touching on them, but if not, I will in the future again. The Eighth Doctors, there's a real huge universe of, beginning in the Radio Times and stuff like that. So if that's not going to be touched on too much, I would be quite happy to have you back on and do a special on that as well.
Yeah, that'll be great because that tied in with the BBC books as well. When that Radio Times one, as you're talking about, got wound up a bit too early. I think it was about 8 weeks too early. So they finished the story in in print format. But yeah, you're right. There's so much with the Doctor Universe in audios and books and comics, and they all contradict each other as well.
Yeah, but it's huge, isn't it? As you know, so.
Yeah. So I own quite a lot of them, as you can see for those who are watching on YouTube. Yes. My next slide shows the top row of my bookshelf here is all what I call the American ones, the IDW and Titan on the left, IDW on the right, including a couple of little gems, The Prisoners of Time, which was a really good multi-Doctor one, and a crossover between the 11th Doctor and Star Trek The Next Generation, which is superb. Which
is that assimilate?
Gone.
Is that assimilate something?
Assimilation 2, it's called.
We know our stuff, don't we?
2. You'd certainly do, and it's all my my British ones on the bottom there. The annuals, the yearbooks, the compilations, because I get them in graphic novel format, and I've got a whole collection of Doctor Who classic comics, which was produced, I think, for about 27 months. I think it lasted about as long as the Roy of the Rovers weekly, to be honest, monthly, to be honest. Sorry. So there we go. But I'm going to be touching on Doctor Who in football in Doctor Who. I'm going to touch on 4 stories, but just a few frames from one story to start with. This is a story called The Lodger. Now, I know that Gull will be aware of this, but this is one of the few stories that started life in comic book, but was then transferred over to the screen.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
So this was done in comic book with David Tennant's Doctor, the 10th Doctor, and Mickey, but it was remade with the 11th Doctor, Matt Smith, and James Corden as a special guest. Yeah, so we've got here the Doctor is staying at Mickey's house because his TARDIS has broken down, and Chris from work is calling for Mickey. Football today's off. Carl is sick. And the Doctor's just fixed a video for Mickey that's broken. But so anyway, he's back on. The Doctor wants to play. He's saying, what am I going to call you? I can't say you're the Doctor. You're, I don't know, John. Okay. What's wrong with the Doctor? It's weird. You can't go do your, hello, I'm the Doctor around here. I'll say you're John from Southampton. Hello, I'm the Doctor, he says. Hi, I'm Robbo. And it's great. I love these shirts as well. They look like kind of West Brom shirts there, but with Zed's Mobile on there. So anyway, the Doctor plays. He shows that he can play football better than anyone. Nutmeg, brilliant. 4-0. So the Doctor is going well there. So that's just a brief mention. That was football in that, and it was completely transferred over to the BBC screens with Matt Smith.
Which in the episode, as you know, he was quite deft with his ball control. They showed, the 11th Doctor playing football as well, just like here.
Yes, that's right. And of course, Matt Smith was a junior footballer. He was in the academy of one of the clubs. It might have been Arsenal. I really can't remember. I'll have to check what one out. But I think he got quite a nasty injury, so he turned to acting instead.
Do you know what? Do you know what, Ian? I've been so looking forward to this episode and you coming on, because as you can tell already, I'm we both know our stuff on the Doctor Who world, and I'm just so excited. So forgive me as we go along if I jump in and go, oh, here.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Well, because unlike any other pod we've ever done.
Because he usually falls asleep for our sections.
Exactly.
That's what he's saying. That's what he's saying. I get it.
No worries. Okay, I'm going on to the next one.
Sorry, I was asleep then.
Don't worry. I'm going a bit back.
And there you go, folks. That's your second word on this week's bingo card.
I'm going slightly back in time now, and I'm going to talk about
it is Doctor Who.
So, it is, yeah, definitely.
We're not going to time travel in this episode.
No
time travel.
Not chronological here. No, there's a 9th Doctor story, a brief mention of, and the first part of Doctor Who's obsession with the 1966 World Cup final. Because I think they're going to assume this is what Doctor Who fans will probably know a lot more about. Because Doctor Who and football have, before recent years, have never really crossed too much. In fact, I remember having a good online conversation with a Doctor Who fan, and we were talking. I mentioned sport, and he said, "I'm a Doctor Who fan. I don't like sport."
Yeah.
So then I went on about a real big message about how we have at least 3 season ticket holders in my local Doctor Who group and that kind of thing. And he shut up then. But here we've got the ninth Doctor visiting August 1966, looking at a newspaper. What's this?
Oh, wow.
England's 5-2 World Cup victory over West Germany. Last month's England win, where Geoff Hurst scored 4 of the 5 goals. That's wrong. I was there. Hurst only got a hat trick, and one of them was only thanks to the linesman. So he was. They don't touch much on this game. It's just something that's bent in time, basically. Someone's changed
Nice.
time. And that's what the story's all about these aliens kind of boosting up people to be better and create a better world, that kind of thing. It's mentioned in again right at the end, but I did want to put this lovely little panel in because it relates to comics. They're talking about the Ninth Doctor and Rose, and woman's saying, "Oh, right, you're more like of a Batman and Robin setup, is it?" And she says, "No, we don't sleep together." So
Batman
that's,
and Robin or Morecambe and Wise? I'm getting confused.
oh, I know, because there was the real emphasis, especially real emphasis on the 60s, was that Batman and Robin were gay, and that is the reason why
Yeah.
Aunt Harriet was invented for the TV shows, to show that they are not two men who lived alone.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And but right at the end of the comic, he hasn't fixed this all, by the way, because he said history's back to normal, give or take that extra goal. I ought to go back and fix that one day. So he hasn't quite fixed that. I mean, the Doctor Who universe, like we've got Mavity at the moment, we have a 5-2.
Excellent.
So yeah, that's
I don't know if you're going to touch on it,
yeah.
but the recent 14th Doctor wiping out the 66 World Cup final. Do you know what I'm talking about?
That is going to be in this.
Yes. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry.
Hold your horses here. It is going to happen. It's going to happen. It's all
Just got
excited.
picture of Goal just jumping up and down.
That's
doing
all right. It's all
cartwheels.
part of the obsession.
Sorry.
Don't worry.
Goal, the spoiler alert podfather.
This is what we're talking about, isn't it? Because I'm going on to that
There
right
it is.
now. In fact, right now. And I was on my last few slides. I'm hoping I can read this. On my last few slides, I separated the page into two, but I do want to do this because the artwork here is
That's
absolutely
great.
superb.
Yeah.
So if people are looking at this on YouTube, they can actually see what's happening. Now, the Doctor, this story is about the 14th Doctor. So David Tennant returned as the Doctor simply because Ncuti Gatwa wasn't available for a few months. So they asked David Tennant to come back for the specials, and they made him not the 10th Doctor, but the 14th Doctor, and they kind of explained it. So anyway, so what have we got here? Wembley Stadium smells like Saturday the 30th of July, 1966, the World Cup final. Who's in distress? The Germans? So anyway, he gets into Wembley saying that he's Nobby Styles' cousin, and can't you see the resemblance? And because he's had a distress signal, someone's in distress. So he's going around the crowd at Wembley Stadium. Are you in distress? Are you in distress? Are you in distress? Oh, hang on. I can't ask 98,600 people. Got to scan for that signal discreetly. All right there, fella. That's his team unsussing do. Yeah, daft question. What is this extra time? Has Hurst hit the crossbar yet? Hey?
Brilliant.
Anyway, he finds the aliens. And I've just been putting my screen up and
I'm loving this.
There you go. Right. And so he finds the aliens now, and they're saying, "Oh, just ignore him." But he's seen us. Word to the wise: if you're going to go around with psychic shields, make sure they're properly adjusted. You got blue fringing. Look. Oh, we don't know what you mean, sir. Please just watch the match. All right, we'll do it the hard way. And he takes away the shields, and he reveals the aliens that are watching the 1966 World Cup final. Why the crowd aren't reacting to this, I don't know. That there are 4 aliens have suddenly appeared at Wembley. Maybe they're more interested in Germans.
Don't focus on that, Ian. Just move on from that. It's fine.
Come on, the action on the pitch, Ian. Everybody's eyes was focused on the pitch.
Spoiling it, come off it. You're time tourists. You know what you came to see. Hurst hits the crossbar, ball clips the line. Referee says that England 3-2. Kenneth Walls to home. People on the pitch. Hurst again 4-2. Right. And then they see now, not quite. Alien spaceship has appeared above the pitch. Oh no! Everyone, get out while you can. This game is over. It's all over, and it's Daleks. They come on and they exterminate all the players on the pitch at the 1966 World Cup final.
I don't remember that at all. I mean, I wasn't. I mean,
the alien says, "All over." Well, it is now.
I've got to say, Ian, I mean, I don't want to discredit you, but I've got replays of this in black and white and colour, and no point whenever I've rewatched this game did Daleks appear from a spaceship. And can I just say, vaporised Jeff Hurst, Bobby Charlton, and all the guys.
Can I just go off on a tangent for 30 seconds?
Go for it.
I'm sure I've said this before, but the disparity between the ITV and the BBC commentary when that last goal went in, you know,
Yeah.
I'm going to go Kenneth Wolstenholme, of course. Some
Yeah.
of the crowd are on the pitch. They think it's all over. It is now.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
What did
over on
Hugh John say?
ITV, huh?
What did Hugh John say?
That's it. That's it. It's really it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hardly memorable, is it? Hardly a wide to west.
Exactly.
Or it's all over. Yeah. 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 Well, that was Hugh John's, eh? I'm not going to go too much more into the story, but basically, it turns out that this is actually a simulation. It's
Fantastic.
time
It makes
tourists.
sense now.
Yeah.
It's time tourists who want to go and experience Dalek invasions. So they make up Dalek invasions of Earth and in simulations. However, they don't realize that the Daleks are actually controlling things and they don't want to make it a simulation and they want to take over it all. So there's a picture here from the Dalek Dome. And that's all I've really featured on that one. And
So that Daleks of FIFA. Really?
Yeah. As you can imagine,
be careful, but yeah, Infantino and Sepp Blatter. I mean, in all fairness, if there ever was a human Dalek, they'd fit the bill, wouldn't they?
So this was featured.
I would like to see wiped out.
What's that?
By the Daleks. Exeter, mate.
That's good for you, isn't it? Being a talking fan.
Lovely.
Yeah, definitely. This story, actually, I won't. The reason I don't go on with this is that this went to 14 episodes over the space of a year, reprinted in this nice, like, shiny graphic novel, which was great.
Brilliant.
And so, yeah, that's that one. So I'm going to go on to my next one now. I'm going on to the 11th Doctor, and
I'm loving it.
The obsession with the World Cup final. The 11th Doctor is trying to get to Wembley, despite the fact that he has been there once before, but he hasn't, at least anyway, maybe twice. So Wembley Stadium, 1966. England played Germany in the World Cup final. Bobby Charlton, Jeff Hurst, Georgie Best, the rock star of the time, like Beckham, but with better hair. The companion here doesn't know football. So anyway, seeing him here would be unlikely. Where is your husband, by the way? Anyway, her husband's turned up. And by the way, you got to tell me, Gull, I've had a mind block. What are the names of the companions here?
Oh, you've thrown it right at me.
I'm sorry, mate.
Amy,
that's right. And Rory. Amy and Rory.
And Rory Williams.
Rory Williams, yes. And they married and he became Rory Pond.
I was only pretending. I knew really.
Because the doctor said that's how it worked. So that's how it worked. Anyway.
Of course you do, because you're not on the weakest link, are you?
No. Rory has found a perfect replica of a Bobby Moore jersey. I was thinking of wearing it today. With that, Rory, it's not a replica, it's the real thing. I bought it in a Venetian auction in the 23rd century, the doctor said. And if you wear that on the pitch and bump into Bobby itself, you know what happens? The Blinovich limitation effect. What? Blinovich, two things at the same matter can't exist at the same time. So basically, if that shirt touches the other shirt, the world could actually blow up. So anyway,
but we're going to risk it anyway, right?
We're going to risk it anyway. Anyway, I don't want to risk cause a chain of events where Rory's mistaken for one of the team actually ends on the pitch. Right, buckle up, we're there. Sing along. There's only one Bobby Charlton. Is that a football rattle? Rory says. Where did you find that? Oh, this thing, the doctor said. I picked that up from the console. I think it's a dark matter stabilizer. Of course it is. But why rattle? Those rattles are cool and loud, and they were used long before those horn things. Now remember, stay close. We should be right beside the. Oh, I could be mistaken because they've landed where it's all trees. I don't remember these trees on the pitch at Wembley. No, well, the Dodgers brought us to the right place, but 1,000 years too early. Now, why did we arrive early? This wasn't as I planned. Perhaps I pulled the rattle out too early. Now, Amy speaks out here now. Doctor, you pilot the TARDIS with a selection of items that includes a pinball machine and an egg whisk. The fact we arrive anywhere is impressive. I suppose it's that, I suppose. I wonder if there's anyone here. Stay right there, Danish trespassers. It's people on horseback. So it's Vikings. They've come up with the Vikings on horseback. Hey, what do you think you are calling us Danish? That's Vikings, right? Pretty much. We're in the 9th century, the doctor says. The Anglo-Saxons are currently fighting a ground war against the invading Vikings. But this is Wembley. Currently, it's known as Wembersley, or the clearing of the Saxon tribe of Wember. So I'm like I said, I'm not going on this whole story, but eventually, this is a purely historical, by the way, no aliens in this story. They meet Wember and his wife Frida. They get taken to see him. My men say you're found in the forest without a horse that is yet beside a blue carriage without wheels. They did indeed, Lord Wember. I'm the doctor. These are my friends Amy and Rory. There was talk of a blue box once before, a stranger who helped our King Alfred the Great escape from Somerset. Do you know this? Alfred's a great leader. He's a terrible cook. You should see him with a pot noodle.
Oh, gosh.
It is you, Doctor. You saved his life. Welcome to my hearth. I feel you've arrived at a bad time. Really, why is that? The Doctor finds out there's a bit of a war going on. We skip forward an episode or so now, and there's a chant from the locals there: Wembersley, Wembersley. So we want to know where that chant came from. It came from 1,000 years before.
Wow, there you go.
This is the most surreal. This is the most surreal thing I've ever seen. Amy says, "Viking football hooligans. They won't stop if they win. They'll take our lands. They'll invade Wessex. King Alfred won't be able to stop them. The Saxons will die. I have to get past Doctor and Rory first. Don't give up hope just yet. We're on our way to Wembersley. It's not over to the final whistle," she says. So anyway, they decide to settle the battle with a penalty shootout. So, Doctor, show us this penalty shootout, he says. We can kill you and this stripling here. Anyway, we use this ball here, the Doctor says. You take it and kick it between those two trees. The other team has a man there who tries to stop it with his hands. Best out of 3 wins. Do you want to practice? No need. We play a game similar to this often, but in ours we use a human head instead of a ball. I see. Well, this time it'll be Football Association approved one, I'm afraid. So this is to the death. If we win, we'll gut you like guinea pigs. Don't write us off too fast, he says the Doctor. I was the star player for the King's Arms football team. And there we go. That relates back to the episode of the show is going.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now. He shoots, he scores. I'm not going to show the whole penalty shootout, but there's only one Time Lord Champion, one Time Lord Champion, the Doctor chants.
Sorry, Ian, can I just, for the listeners, because obviously it's great people on YouTube, but the artwork here is amazing.
Yeah,
just the Doctor's he's just scored his penalty and he's actually got his shirt over his head, hasn't he? In goal
doing a knee slide. He's doing a knee slide.
Yes, fantastic. It is brilliant. It's brilliant. He would be booked for that, you know. And so
well, it's a good job Simo's not here. He would have had to go over to VOR.
Yeah, definitely.
What's that? Is that Viking?
Yes.
I know where you were going with that.
I forgot what the yeah. Shut up, Matt.
Oh, someone else is he always like this? Not really. Sometimes he's worse.
Viking or Romans?
Yeah. He makes it 1-1. I've skipped a couple of pages now. The Doctor has made it 3-2. So now the Viking has got to take the last penalty. He shoots, shouts, "Die!" Rory stops it with his head, saves the penalty. They win the penalty shootout. He did it. They did it. We're saved, Amy shouts. Nicely done, getting him so mad that he aims at you. Genius, the Doctor says. Surprise, Doctor? Don't be. I'll do anything to keep Amy. Anything. So that's it. They take off. And they show a lovely bit of artwork. If you can get hold of the comic, you'll see this on YouTube. That they show the Twin Towers being built. The future site of Watkins Tower, 1892. It says here. Don't know too much about that history about it being that early, but they show a bit of the Wembley Stadium. Then they go to the classic commentary, and here comes Hurst. He's got some people on the pitch. They think it's all over. It is now, and you see the Doctor, Amy, and Rory in the crowd. Wembersley, Wembersley. And that is my short pre-say of that 11th Doctor story, which I don't think has a name, but it was in a collection called When Worlds Collide, produced by IDW.
Brilliant.
Bravo, sir. Bravo.
Good story. I've got one more to go, but if you guys want to
No,
comment,
keep going.
No,
going.
no, it's fantastic.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, I'm just going to say to the listeners, again on here, with the football artwork, but there's one panel there, is absolutely fantastic panel with that final Jeff Hurst shot where the ball kind of has left Sir Jeff's foot and is on its way to the roof of the net, and then as Ian said, a brilliant kind of whole page panel of them in the crowd shouting out Wembley.
That's
Yeah,
it.
it's really
That's it.
really good.
It's really it.
it is
Yes.
great, isn't it? The artwork was by an artist called Mark Buckingham. This was written by Tony Lee, who is English. I met him years ago because he wrote another really good one of these. I met him alongside David Tennant at a convention. So I got him
Superb.
to sign the graphic novel that I had of that. I'm going to go on to my pièce de résistance now, which is called The Nightmare Game. It's an Eighth Doctor comic book, released roughly at the time of the Eighth Doctor. I will start reading it because it starts with a football game. It's the end at the end of a disappointing match for Delchester.
Delchester.
Which I thought I never picked it up for years. It's probably Melchester with the D for Doctor.
Yeah,
So Delchester.
that's often done.
Yeah. Come on, Delchester, the crowd roar. Go on, Butch. If anyone can do it, Stobbs can. The pressure's on Captain Ray Butch Stobbs. Delchester can't afford to miss this one. The tension at the end of the Delchester end is, what's that? And the TARDIS is landing at in front of the goal. And what they're doing in this comic strip is they are doing a bit of an homage to episode 8 of the first Doctor story, The Daleks' Master Plan, where the TARDIS appears at the Oval in the middle of a cricket match.
Yeah.
All right.
And some of the commentary is roughly similar to what was said, where in that particular episode, the commentators don't blink. They just carry on with their commentary, work out how long there is to go, and how this is a terrible blow to England if the ground can't get the TARDIS off the pitch in the next half an hour because they were looking so good. Anyway, this is incredibly. There seems to be an old police box in front of the goal. What the? And the Eighth Doctor appears. Cold, wet, muddy. No, definitely not the Nile Valley. So which of you naughty gentlemen has been operating a parastatic vortex beam? There's an intruder on the pitch. The police come on. Grab him, Jack. He's going to do a streak. I assure you I'm not. Commentators are talking again. Not sure what's happened there, but the obstruction's been moved and the referee's telling Stobbs to take the penalty again. This planet could be in terrible danger. Right, oh, Johnny, the copper says. I don't know what trick you did with that police box, but don't try it again. It happens to be a space-time machine. Then clear off back to your own planet, sonny boy. Typical humans. No, typical policemen. The crowd now come out because the game's over. We don't know who. Well, I think we know that they lost. Colchester lost. We was rubbish. Worst yet. What's the point? I must find out what's going on, the doctor said. Nobody on Earth in 1977 should be using a parastatic vortex beam. Oh dear. So they firmly set this at the start of Roy of the Rovers comic, 1976 to 77 season. Doctor gets on a bus. Fair? Actually, I want to go back to, what's the use? The depot, please. Yeah, you're that nut job from the phone box. A fan, is on the bus talking to him. My mother told me never to talk to strange boys, the doctor said. Are you from outer space or something? The doctor says.
Ian, can I just interrupt and just say, just go back a page and just for like people that are not watching this on YouTube.
Yeah.
But the artwork is, you should say, so synonymous with like 1977 when you look at like the bus and I think there's some kids eating some space dust, I think, on the next page. I think I can see there and the jackets they're wearing as well. It's really great. The artwork is excellent. Yeah.
And they also with this particular story, they most Doctor Who stories, about all Doctor Who stories at the time, the artwork went from end to end on the page. There was no white border. For this story, there was a white border, and it was deliberately done to make it look like a 1970s comic.
Right. Yeah,
interesting.
It's been very, very clever. So the Doctor is now investigating strange lights in the sky, freak meteor storms. Excuse me. He's asking the boy if he's seen anything unusual at all. Only that Delchester United's gone right off the boil. We was doing great at the start of the season. We were in a chance of the cup for the first time in years. Butch is unstoppable, says the crowd. And that makes it 3 for Delchester. This is Delchester's best season since 1953. The crowd are all talking to each other as they always do in Roy of the Rovers.
Yeah.
So they really paid homage here. Then just after Christmas, the club got bought up. Says here, these two chances made an offer the owners can't refuse. If you ask me, there's something odd about them too. It gives me great pleasure to welcome the Shakespeare brothers. The new owners are revealed in a flashback to the players, and the owners are saying that they can take Delchester United to even greater heights. So anyway, but from then on, the team started playing worse. It's a poor showing from Delchester. Steve Gray of Belthorpe's got the ball from Kevin Collins. And worse, they're playing like a bunch of Jessies. Great 1970s.
Yeah.
And that makes it 6-0 to Belthorpe. What are Delchester playing at? Anyway, we're back to the present day now, a few months later. Nobody can figure how they turned out bad so quick, the boy says. Perhaps it's connected to the vortex beam that knocked me off course. I think I better get back to the ground, the doctor says. Yeah, what if them monsters attack you again? Don't worry, buddy. Just eat your greens, wash behind your ears, and I'll deal with these creatures. So we see, and again, some great artwork for those who are watching. A couple of great punks on the street. One of them's wearing a No Future t-shirt. No Future was the title of another Doctor Who novel, which is great. I don't know if that's been put in deliberately. Probably was, because this is written by Gareth Roberts, who is a prominent book writer as well. Come on, go.
Well, it's actually it's me. Sorry,
Cool.
I was just going to say that's
sorry.
fine. In the background as well, have you noticed the name of the bookseller shop?
Spillers.
Lucky Gray.
William Gray.
W. Gray. So I was just wondering, could that really be the ultimate homage there? Obviously, William Gray. Yeah.
That would be amazing. It's also next to Spillers Records, which I didn't know that there were not many branches of that, but we had a branch in Cardiff for over 100 years.
Wow.
It's quite a famous record shop. And maybe there was more than one branch in Britain. But back at the ground, the coaches are talking to the manager, are talking to each other. We played terrible today, Backstone. Those extra training sessions of yours are wearing the boys out. I'm only doing what the new owners want, Stubbs. You better be going home. Not training them again tonight. Look at them. You should not question. So anyway, he's warning that one player, Stubbs, does not require special training. You must leave. This has gone on far enough. I'm going to stay on. See what you're putting the lads through. Them Shakespeare brothers, they're tearing the team apart. I've got to find out what's going on. So anyway, the Shakespeare brothers have got the TARDIS, and they realise that they're not all as they seem. The Morgs have not yet returned, Milo. Was it wise to release them? Imperative Frank. This device is some kind of teleporter. The alien that emerged must be an agent of the Galactic Police. Do you think they're on to us? The operation is almost over. The Nakurite is close to activation. This is our last hope. Nothing can stop us. So anyway, they're beginning training the players, and it seems like they're being hypnotized by the floodlights. And it looks like there's an alien in the middle of the ground.
Wow.
Yeah, it's some great artwork.
You don't get that at Mel Park normally, do you?
No. Well, the odd earthquake, but not an alien.
Now, one of the players have been hypnotized. The one player who hasn't been hypnotized has been told. He was told at one point during this that he was probably a bit too stupid. I mean, special to be hypnotized. So they find out that it's a creature. At the end of this episode, the creature is trying to eat the Doctor. This is something the football is very limited up now. It's a 3-episode. I'm going to the end of the second episode where the ground is shot into space in its entirety by the aliens who have captured this. Now it is time for the Nakurite to join the fathership. Then nothing in the galaxy will be able to resist us. I'll go on to the end of part 3 now, where football solves it. They knock out the aliens using a football. The player who's not been hypnotized does an overhead kick, and he's a real bug-eyed monster, this alien. Yeah. It's really good. He's aiming for the eye. Kill them all, the alien says. On me head, Doctor. The Doctor shoots the fan. It's our last chance, Billy. This one's for Delchester, you big creep. And Billy heads the ball and destroys the alien. Yeah, I did it. We're not out to the woods yet, the Doctor says. The morgue may be dying, but it'll take us with us if we're not careful. We must get back to the TARDIS. So They're on the pitch now. They're getting the hypnotized players back into the TARDIS. The TARDIS takes off and leaves the ground in outer space. So they must realize now that there is actually no ground where there once was a ground back down on Earth. And it blows up. 6 months later, somehow they've got a new ground. 6 months is great. I don't think anyone's done it that part fast, apart from in Dream Team, where they sometimes managed it in 3 months.
Maybe Tommy Barnes and Barnes United, they could knock one up, couldn't they?
They could.
Just a bit of a roller.
Well, in all fairness, the new Melchester Stadium in the Match of the Day years was pretty quick, but yeah.
It was, yeah. Delchester have really turned themselves around this season. Yeah, ever since that whole ground was destroyed in the mystery explosion, they've been playing like belters. Come on, Butch, you can do it. Come on, Ray. Is this seat taken? There's a voice. It's the Doctor. This time dressed all casually, just for the era. Hello, Billy. I thought I'd drop in to see how the team's doing. And since you're so keen on monsters, I wonder if you fancy a trip in the... Go! Yeah! Nice one, Stobbsy. Cool. Ray's amazing, says Billy. I wouldn't have missed this season for anything. Sorry, Doc, what were you saying? Never mind, Billy. If you can't beat them, join them, I say. Come on, Delchester! And he waves that rattle. I don't know if it's the same rattle the 11th Doctor finds in...
Yes.
Well, before... But that is it. That is my story of Doctor Who in football comics in Doctor Who.
Doctor Who. Wow, brilliant. That is fantastic, Ian. Thoroughly enjoyed that. I mean, to me, obviously, as you know, I mean, my whole comic obsession is just football based. And so, of course, for me, that's completely all new content. And I've never seen the like of it before. Some fantastic artwork. And I must admit, in your introduction, I was quite shocked to hear actually how long the Doctor Who comics have been going.
Oh, I know,
and of
it's
course,
amazing.
You and Gold can tell me as well, this obsession with the 1966 World Cup as well.
I know.
Yeah.
As I said, I guess, as I said before, I guess it's because they felt that's what general normal football fans would know about more than anything else. However old they are. I'm going to look in the book. The last story I read, it was reprinted in a graphic novel called The Flood.
Wow.
There's some writing in about the making of, I suppose you could say, and the writer Gareth Roberts is not a football fan, by the way, but he said, I wanted to do a football strip for years before, but then editor Gary Russell wouldn't let me. You may think he was right. Also, I wanted to see if something hard and concrete and real in the strip. There've been a lot of mind-boggling alien environments and virtual realities. As a kid in the 1970s, I was familiar with the strips in Scorcher and Score, etc.
Oh, wow.
Not because I like football, far from it, but because reading my brother's comics was often the thing to do in the days when the TV stations expected you to play outdoors for most of the day. I thought it'd be fun to put the Doctor in a wildly different strip universe to his normal one. So there you go. That's an explanation.
That's fantastic. No, that really is, and and that's what we like to do as well in the pod. We explore all football comic related things, and obviously outside at times as well. But that's brilliant to see, football in a very popular science fiction world there, and brought to life. And it's always interesting because, of course, got to be careful because he's still in the closet. But as we know, our own friend of the show, David Skew, the great artist of Roy of The Rovers, has actually admitted to us that he's not really necessarily himself a football fan at all. So, just because you're not a football fan doesn't mean that you can't draw or be involved in a football comic or part of the action.
Exactly.
Wow.
Brilliant stuff. Thanks, Ian. Really enjoyed that.
Yeah, that is amazing.
If anyone is interested, sorry to interrupt their tangent, and also to Ian as well. Many moons ago, or maybe back around about episode 47, I did a side episode with a couple of Doctor Who fans, and it was an 8th Doctor special. So you might want to go back.
I definitely will. I haven't listened to that one yet, so I'll definitely have to search back and I'll listen to that as soon as I can.
No worries. And I would very much welcome in the future doing an 8th Doctor comics special with you.
Yeah, certainly. We'll certainly work on that one, definitely.
Excellent.
As you say, the 8th Doctor comic strip ran from 1996 or 1997 right up until 2005. So
exactly.
There's a lot to go on.
Definitely.
Doctor Who magazine and others.
And Radio Time, of course.
Times, yes.
Thank
Right,
you.
I'm going to intervene because obviously a couple of Doctor
Carry
Who
on.
fans here. We could be here all night and forgetting
Yeah.
all of our other features. So I'm going to move over to Matt, and of course can't help but think that obviously the Doctor did win the penalty shootout, but how good would it have been if they'd have had Gordon Stewart in goal? Over
Oh
to
yeah.
you, Matt.
Bravo. Bravo.
Wow, that's almost seamless. Well, it is kind of seamless. Okay, guys, can you see that screen?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, just for people not watching on YouTube, I've got the story "The Safest Hands in Soccer," and this is from the 1979 Roy of the Rovers annual. So just a short, condensed story. See the second Roy of the Rovers annual after the comic started in '76. So what we've got there, we've got Gordon Stewart, and he's saying, "Hi pals, this is a picture of me, Gordon Stewart, Tynefield City. You know, it takes a whole range of talents to be a really good goalkeeper. But there's one thing above all else you just can't do without. Just read this story and see if you can guess what it is before the end." So you've got there, Tynefield, they're playing Crane United, and you've got the crowd there, and Tynefield, Tynefield. And they're going, "See them off, City. Show United how we put first division teams in their place when they visit us," because of course Tynefield City were a second division team, weren't they?
Yep.
So it's the third round of the FA Cup. It tells us, and there's a Crane United player's got the ball, Jimmy Stone, and they've got a great sash tops. The great,
Yeah.
I love those tops of the sash, like Peru.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Jimmy Stone's got the ball, and go, "This is it. He's got a clear sight of goal, and he's got the hardest shot in the game, and he smacks it straight towards the goal, and there." Gordon Stewart just plucks it out of the air, just like he did in those fantastic strips,
Yeah.
and it's just
Fantastic.
brilliant. The artwork is just amazing, and almost when he catches the ball, almost like the ball explodes.
Yeah,
The
into
artwork is
his
just
hands. Yeah, you can
it's
tell that
brilliant.
it's a thunderous shot, but Gordon's equal to it.
Brilliant artwork by Osvaldo Torta, of course. And he goes, "Gordon saved it, brilliant." But how? It was going so fast, I didn't even see it. So anyway, Crane United are continuing to press forward, and the crowd's going, "A goal's got to come. Tynefield can't hold out much longer." And Jimmy Stone goes, "Pick that one out of the net," and he smacks it. Another Jimmy Stone thunderbolt, and Gordon palms it over the bar. And the crowd's going, "Stewart's fooled him again. He must like hard shots. He's tipped over the bar." And Jimmy Stone there, his hand on his head, he's like, "Oh, it's not my day, Alan. I'm hitting them as hard as usual, but if this keeper's getting to them." In the crowd, we see a few people sitting there watching the game, and one says, "I've seen enough, Dave. He's just the man we're looking for. Lots of promise." And the bloke next to him goes, "I agree, Ron. He fields hard shots well. He's not fooled by spin, and he's got plenty of confidence. All he lacks is big match experience." And the guy goes, "Well, he's going to get that soon. There's nothing like dropping them in at the deep end to see if they've got what it takes." And then the referee blows his whistle, and the crowd goes, "It's all over, 0-0. City live to fight another day. Gordon's earned them a replay." So they've earned a replay in the FA Cup third round.
Yeah.
So we move on. It's Monday morning, and Gordon's at home, and his mum comes in and goes, "Gordon, it's a telegram for you." And he's like, "Oh, I've never had one of those before." And he opens it up. He goes, "Mum, I've been picked to play for Great Britain under 21 side. It's next
Wow.
week against the Brazilians." And she's like, "Well, very nice, dear. But perhaps you'd like to have a word with them. Say their coffee is getting very expensive. I paid an extra 2 pence for a jar just last week." There you go.
Should be shot now.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Oh, exactly, yeah. And then we move on to the next panel. Bill Williams, the Typhoid manager, is waiting for Gordon. Gordon walks into the room. "Congratulations, lad. You deserve it. The selectors were watching you against United on Saturday." "Phew, thank goodness I didn't make any mistakes." So now Gordon's with the rest of his teammates, and they're in the dressing room, and they're going, "Oh, who's a clever fella then? Oh, can I have your autograph, Gordon? What's it like to be famous? I hope it's all right for us to change in here with you, sir." And he's like, "Ah, you Mickey taking bunch. You wait until I'm a real international. I'll charge you 50 pence if you just want to talk to me." 50 pence, big money back then.
Yeah.
So anyway, he's walking down the street now. We've got Gordon. He's quite pensive, actually. He's going, well, he's thinking he's got a foot bubble. He's like, "I've seen the team in the papers, but I've never really met any of them before. I only hope I don't let them down by letting in a soft goal." So he's a bit kind of concerned. But then he has some fans come up to him, some autograph hunters, and go, "Oh, here comes Gordon Stewart, the goalkeeper. Let's hope he gives us his autograph." And he's like, oh, okay, this is fine. This isn't much different from any other Saturday. So he goes in and he meets Ron Levy, the England manager. Don't know where they would have got that from. Maybe Don Revie,
Yeah.
perhaps, around that sort of time.
Who would
And
have realised that the England manager in '77 would later become Tottenham Hotspur chairman?
It's not Daniel Levy. God,
Sorry. Yeah.
very good. And Dave Lawson. So these are in charge of this British team. And of course, around about this time, there's always been the kind of talk about doing a British team, isn't there? Really, but
I
and this
was.
time it would have been a really good team as well. Because I don't think go
Mm,
for a tangent, but
mm,
what if the Scottish team had a really strong team? There's some really strong Welsh
yeah.
players. Just for you there, Ian. I
Mm.
remember
Oh
where
yeah,
I
there
am,
were a few at the
but it
time.
was, wasn't it? And obviously,
Mm.
Northern Irish, there would have been a few there. But
Yeah.
there's lots of talk
So,
about it.
I mean, I was just gonna say, and as you said, Matt, I don't want to because we've
No, go on.
but there wasn't a Great Britain team at that time, though, was there? So this is
No,
purely
No, it's
fictitious,
just
right?
for you.
Because I have
Yeah,
no recollection at all. Right? Yeah, great. Yeah,
no. I
yeah,
think there was one in the 50s, one in the 60s, and the Olympics, and that's about it, isn't
yeah,
yeah. I
yeah.
just want to remind you, Paul, this is fiction. This isn't true.
it?
And, and I and I love it,
So
and I love it.
anyway, so Ron's there, not Don. He goes, "Welcome, Gordon. Congratulations on your first cap. First cap, as if there's going to get a series of Great Britain caps." But
Yeah,
anyway,
exactly.
okay, move on, Matt. Okay, I will do. Thanks for picking me, Mr. Levy. And he's putting on a yellow shirt, and he goes, "Oh, this is
Yeah.
the first time I've worn a yellow goalkeeper's jersey. It's always this colour when you're playing in an international match." And that's like,
Yes.
how many listeners will be going, "Yes,
Yeah, I remember
exactly, the
that.
good
It
old yellow
was, yeah,
jerseys."
yeah,
I know.
yeah. It was something. I had one. I had a yellow goalkeeper's jersey.
People watching on YouTube, Ian's got one on as well. But
Yeah.
it's a
It's an
Riverton
homage
United.
to
It's an
United.
homage
It
to
is
yeah.
best I could get.
Um,
Of
so you
course,
got
our good friend Luscious Locks with us has a United shirt, doesn't he?
He
yeah,
does, yeah.
Does indeed.
he does.
So I'd laugh.
Well, I don't want to
I know
confuse.
the only reason you get to.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to confuse like real world with comic book football. But of course, when I was at the age when this was going on, as you said, I always loved seeing Bill Shenton and Ray Shilmans in their yellow jerseys for England. Sorry, Peter Shilton and Ray
Oh,
Clements.
good, very good. So anyway, get back to the story. Yeah, okay. So Dave Wilson's there, the coach is going, "You hear plenty of tactics before you go out, Gordon. Just let me give you one word of warning. Their danger man is Juan Herrantes. He's got a tremendous shot and is full of tricks. He's as full of tricks as a cartload of monkeys." Okay. He goes, "Thanks, Dave. I'll watch him." Never, you would have thought you might have heard about him before just going out
Yeah.
on the pitch, but I don't know, maybe not. And just before he goes out on the pitch, he receives a telegram. Gordon does from his. Says, "Good luck, Gordon," from the Mickey taking bunch at Timefield. So they're on his side really, his
Yeah.
teammates. So they come onto the pitch and the crowd's going, "Come on, Britain, show him how to play." And you've got Juan Herrantes, and he's doing some keepy uppies on his knee. And he goes, and Gordon's going, "Well, he looks quite harmless enough." Anyway, the game starts, and in the opening minutes, he's got the ball straight away, Herrantes, and he hits the ball. Oh, it's a great save. Gordon palms it away
That's
as only
ex-
Gordon can. What a save! What a
Yes.
save! But he goes off for a corner, and he's got a thought bubble there, and he's like, "Oh, I've heard so much about these Brazilians. They bend the ball about all over the place. I better keep my eyes on it." And he does, because he shoots straight from the corner, and it's going straight into the goal. And the crowd's going, "Oh, it's gone straight into the net." But no, Gordon's there at the very last second. He just jumps and gets it with both hands. No punching with Gordon Stewart. This is the 70s. This is when the goalkeepers used to
Really
catch the ball.
cool. Catch
Exactly.
the ball. Don't punch it.
So yeah, and the crowd's like, "Oh, this Timefield keeper's hot stuff. It's a good job they picked him." And then Herrantes is trying more tricks, and now he's flicked it over. He's backheeled it over his head, trying to get over Gordon, but Gordon stretches back and he saves it again. Oh, and the crowd are like, "Come on, Britain, you've hardly attacked yet. What about a goal? We know you've got a good defence. Show us what your forward line is like." But then still, Brazil are passing it around and urged on by the crowd. They just, Britain just can't do anything. But they're broken through again, and the Ranches is through again, and then he's through on goal. He tries to lift over keeper. Oh, but Gordon's punched it, and he punches it so far, it goes halfway up the pitch, and then it's straight to a British player, and it's in the back of the net. He's passed it on in it within two. It's straight in the back of the goal. And the crowd are going, "We're one up. Good old Britain. Thanks to Gordon Stewart. Instead of losing, Britain are winning." all because of that punch straight from the Brazilian chance. And then the last frame you've got Gordon Stewart, and he goes, "That was the final score, readers. 1-0, a clean sheet on my debut. Remember that question I asked you at the beginning? The thing you can't do without in goal? I expect you've guessed it already. What is it, guys? Paul, Ian, goal. What do you
Well,
reckon he needed?"
I hadn't guessed it, but I've read it, so I'm not going to say but I hadn't guessed it.
I've just read it as well, unfortunately.
Okay, well, it's not Fred the Skeleton.
No.
No,
It's
but
luck.
it's what
But though
Fred the
Fred gave
Skeleton
him
brings.
exactly.
Brings-
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
exactly.
It's luck. He says, "Just think about it. Without luck, the most brilliant keeper in the world would be nothing."
Nothing.
Mm.
So that's
Nothing.
it.
Fantastic.
When
Nothing.
was this again? Sorry.
Yes. So it's the 1979 annual. So it would have been,
59.
it would have
Yes.
been produced in 78.
Yeah.
This is amazing because I don't know if it was in the weekly strip, but my mind there's definitely a summer special and the safest hands of soccer. He's playing for Great Britain in a tournament,
Yeah,
and
no,
it wasn't a one-off
Yeah.
match.
I think you're
Yeah.
right, actually.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
pretty sure
and
you are
that's
right.
just really got me like questioning myself. But as you correctly said, Matt, and I do forget because I'm the one that always says it's a fictitious world. So why can't England have won the World Cup? And I completely tripped myself up by saying, but there wasn't a Great Britain team back in those days. I love these little fantastic little annual stories. I mean, how many pages was that? I mean, Bygone and the summer specials has done what, 2, 3, 4 pages. I mean, I think that was about 4 or 5 pages, that one, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was only about
Yeah,
like 4 pages.
brilliant.
Yeah, it's just all kind of condensed in. And let's just say it's perfect for when you're on holiday in a caravan or
In a
Right.
caravan or in the
near
back
a
of some
crumbly
second-hand old
cliff. Yeah,
bookshop or something,
yeah,
wherever you
exactly.
might be,
Yeah.
because you're serving a one-pod suspension because you can't pronounce Scottish names. But we
One, I
won't
think,
dwell
Hamish.
on that fact.
one I'm thinking Royal Family now and the Pearl of Prestatyn when they went into a caravan there. A typical 1970s holiday that they still did in 30 years later there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Great stuff from the safest hands of soccer. Not just keeping them out for Tynefield City, but look at that, playing for the Great Britain under 21s there. Brilliant artwork. I've got to say, going on tangent, this is one thing and a frustration of mine, though, as we talk about it. These wonderful stories and these characters, like that Brazilian player, I've forgotten the name there, Cortizo.
Juan Herrantes.
Herrantes. And I always feel that things like that was missed, that they kind of come in just like that in one story, but you never actually see them again. And wouldn't it be amazing for Tynefield? And I believe they did manage to play a couple of like friendlies against European opposition and that. And if that same player had been up front for
Yeah,
the
I
opposition,
know.
but
I know. We said
know,
that before. Yeah, you're
yeah.
right. You're right. It would have been great. Yeah, definitely.
That's a hindsight thing there. Well, brilliant. We're moving along, and I think now this is going to be interesting. I don't know who I'm going to hand over to here because got a collector's corner, and as I've already alluded to, I haven't really been purchasing anything over recent weeks. However, with our fantastic special guest, I'm going to hand over to some one of you to pick up the reins, and I'm going to just disappear and thumb through my shelves and bring out a comic. And I wonder if Ian
Finger
might have
through the
heard of it
shelf.
or seen it. Thumb is what I do. I leave that other word for people that serve suspensions, and you're getting a bit close, Mr.
Yes.
Mute Button.
Yes.
So, goal.
What?
Any more collector's corners for us? Have you increased your 2000 AD 15 million amazing wheeling dealing special deals that you've done, or has it been a quiet few weeks on that front for you?
I did acquire 24 more 2000 ADs for a tenner. So that makes, I think I've got over 1,000 of those now. So I think I've got about 50 billion comics. But as the rest of the podcast team know, I actually move this week, move house. So I'm looking forward to trying to emulate Tangent Paul's wonderful scenery behind him and the way he puts his collection on, if you can see that on YouTube. But that's all I've purchased because I've been too busy packing. What about the other gents?
Ian, yeah, what about yourself?
Yeah. I've just added to my Doctor Who graphic novel collection recently. The first 15th Doctor graphic novel from Titan Comics. Everyone Must Go. Very good read. Pick that up online. So as people saw if they were watching the earlier on YouTube, my extensive collection, so I've added to that, but I'm not spending a great deal apart from that at the moment.
Excellent stuff. Excellent stuff.
Fantastic stuff.
Paul, have you,
Utes.
or should I? Should I? I've
Do you
got
want
some
to?
You
Do
carry
you
special
want
on.
to
stuff
go?
to
Because I
talk
think
about.
you've got so you've got a bit more than because obviously, as I say, I'm going to
Just,
talk about some things from a while back. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So
yeah,
first of all, what I'll do actually, because this is a slight change because we've done this a few times, the
Mhm.
collector's corner. But
Oh yeah, brilliant. Yeah.
what we've got now, and so for YouTube, I'll tell people that aren't on YouTube.
mhm,
Um, Obviously, we're in contact many a time, not just through his feedback, but we have fantastic Trevor Melvin, the Melvster himself. He messaged me, oh yeah, a few days ago, about a week ago, and he said he made some purchases. And so I'm sharing on the screen like one of his recent purchases, which
yeah.
is a copy of The Champion from
Wow,
March 1940, because it's got a
wow.
character in there called Tubby Timms.
Mm.
And it's on the cover here, and it's a fantastic cover. Um, and I mean, The Champion was published by Amalgamated Press. It was a story paper, so it wasn't a picture story paper.
Okay,
It started in 1922. It actually merged into Tiger
Yeah.
in
right.
1955. This story is written by, or Tubby Timms is written by a person called Rupert Hall, which I'll kind of come to a bit more. But I mean,
Yeah,
just on that cover, and this really kind of was quite poignant, really, because when me and Trevor were messaging, we're thinking it was only the 80th anniversary of BE Day, just
Yeah.
what the 8th of
yeah,
May, wasn't it? And yeah, I'm thinking that this. So try to describe the front cover. You've got a rotund, large goalkeeper. Clearly, must this is Tubby Timms.
yeah.
And you've got one of his teammates there putting a little post. He's fallen asleep on the goal post, and they're tying him down, and they've got a little poster there saying "Barrage balloon, do not touch." So they're having a bit of a wind up there with Tubby Timms. Obviously, Tubby, very famous for Roy
Yeah.
the Rovers fans, to
Yes.
Tubby Morton. So this is why we were kind of saying that maybe the idea for a Tubby Morton character came from this
Yeah. This. Yeah.
this earlier
Yeah.
character. Then you've got actually on the masthead or just above the champion, you've got this other story. It says Q9 spy in Nazi Germany. And he just kind of, and then actually behind the net, you can see there's some soldiers behind the net
Yeah.
Yeah.
watching this happen of the teammates for Tubby, and they're putting the poster by him, and it just kind of got us thinking: is March 1940? You could have been a young child there, and you're buying or you're having this comic bought for you, and the war is still started. I mean, it's still phony war. I
Yeah.
mean, the Blitz hasn't started yet, but we're at war with Germany,
Mm. Yeah.
and
Amazing.
the war is all over this front cover.
Mm.
Yet he's still having a bit of a laugh and joke about Tubby Timms. It's just an amazing front cover, really. The artwork is brilliant.
I like that this would have been delivered as well. Can you see, for
Yeah,
those who are
Yeah.
watching,
Yeah.
absolutely.
see the address, the
Mm.
302 May something or other, I
Mm.
can't see it, but it
Yeah.
is
No,
brilliant to
no,
see. And
it's just
sort of points out the color of the kit is just almost just like Melchester Rovers was at the
Mhm.
start, right
it's a
up until
great
the
spot.
1970s
Yeah.
with the blue shorts and
Yeah.
the red and yellow tops.
Mm.
It's
Yeah. Amazing.
tuppence. It's yeah.
Yeah.
So brilliant. So thanks Trevor for I asked for his permission. And he said we can share this, and obviously we're trying to talk about like the champion. I've got copies of the champion as well. I've got this copy here. This is
Mm.
actually Danny of the Dazzlers,
Yeah.
because
Wow.
again, this is where they thought some of the ideas for Roy of the Rovers came from.
Mhm.
Obviously, alliteration there, Danny of the Dazzlers, Roy of the
Dazzlers. Yeah.
Rovers. Again, that's from Champion, which was an amalgamated press, which became Fleetway, which became IPC. So you can see where the ideas may have kind of germinated from. Yeah, this is the story, and this is on YouTube. So this is actually there are some illustrations on there. Um, but yeah, also what Trevor bought recently
Oh
is
wow.
this book called The Roving Rovers.
Mm.
And this is another storybook. This is written by Edward R. Home Gow, a double barrel name, who is actually wrote under the pseudonym of Rupert Hall. So it's the same person who
And
wrote
did the champion. Yeah,
Tubby Timms. Yeah.
Wow, fantastic.
And yeah, this so on for those not watching this on YouTube, got the front cover of the book here, and then you've got the inside cover of some of the team, the Rovers, and yeah, it's really interesting. So yeah, so that's so.
Sorry,
Matt, this is 1952. This book you can get it on eBay for about £7, I think.
And the book is text based, just with the odd
it is
sort of drawing in it, but it's not an actual like comic as such, not a graphic novel as we would refer to it these days.
Absolutely. So this guy,
amazing though, yeah.
This Edward R. Holmgau, he wrote under quite a few pseudonyms. So he's also wrote under Judith Dale as well. And I think this was common, as we know famously. We have Joe Colquhoun, Frank Pepper, but they were Stuart Colwyn when Roy of the Rovers started in 1954. Yeah, I'm sure there's loads of pseudonyms all across because they were trying to keep anonymous, or the publishers wanted to keep them anonymous so they couldn't be poached by rival publishers.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's fantastic. And this brings me on to some of my purchases. So I bought this. So the weekend I was down on the South Coast and went in the second-hand bookshop, and I've got this book, which is the Champion Annual for Boys, 1934.
Wow.
So can I just interrupt? What I need to summon Goal and Ian here, because I go into second-hand bookstores and charity shops, and all I ever see is old versions of Trivial Pursuits and maybe the odd first edition of an Arthur Conan Doyle Sherlock Holmes. But of course, everybody's got one of those. I never get gems like this. I never see stuff like this. What am I going wrong? Have I got the wrong TARDIS or what?
You're going to the wrong places. I mean, to be honest, I must admit. So we were down in Hive on the South Coast, and must have gone in. I go into all the charity shops. I must have gone into like 10. This is actually in a proper second-hand bookshop.
Right.
So that's where I got this. And it's £4. And on the screen, you can see that it's got the inside cover. And I don't know the answer to this. And I'm going to ask Trevor at some point. Trevor, if you're listening to this, if you look down the stories, there's some stories there by Edwin Dale. And I'm wondering, there's 2 stories there by Edwin Dale. And maybe Edward R. Holmgau was also known as Judith Dale. So I don't know if maybe that again.
Judith's husband, obviously.
Yeah, the Dales.
I thought everybody knew the Dales are famous for writing.
Hey, tangent, you're a bit of a Judith charmer there.
He's back, yeah. So so I got that book, and just finally on this book, and this is really. I love these anyway, and I'm sure everyone on the screen has got these as well. This one, the famous "This Book Belongs To," and I used to fill them in. I'm sure you guys did as well.
Yes,
but this is one that I don't know. It's just this book, the 1934 book. He's actually there's a Clive Holland owned this book. In December 1933. And it's just amazing. That's 92 years ago.
Sorry, Mew. I'm not letting you get away with that. It's not just December 1933. It's actually stamped 25 December 1993. I got this book. I got this book on Christmas Day 1933.
It's brilliant.
It's brilliant.
And he's got his address, and he lives. I mean, Beckenham. He lives in Beckenham, or he lived in Beckenham, and that's about 15 minutes drive from me. So it's just amazing to think that this book is still around. I mean, I'm guessing that poor old Clive probably isn't. But it's just nice. I've got his book, and Clive, I'm looking after it for you, mate. Don't worry about it.
Fantastic.
So that was sorry, go on, go.
Sorry, carry on, Matt. Sorry.
No, go on.
I was going to say, just a tip answering his question about charity shops. What I do is I've got a rota of all of the charity shops in my area. And over every month, I go into each one on a particular day of the month. And when I first started doing this, made myself known of what I was looking for. And now if they have something come in, they give me first dibs.
Oh, that's a good idea. Okay. That's a good idea, yeah.
I'll have to do that.
They get in touch with me, but if I haven't heard from them, then I'll go in on that particular day of the month for that particular one. Do you know what I mean? So it's just a way of letting them know what you're looking for, and they'll get a guaranteed sale if something comes in.
Just because you like cherishing his book, I've actually found his house on and it still exists Five
I
Star
felt
Oak Grove still exists. So
I yeah,
Yeah.
but now brilliant, Ian. But I did that as well. But I'm not
cool.
sure. I'm not sure if that is because it's 1933 in the house, and I do know the road. I've been down the road because there's a gym
Okay.
down there. I'm not sure if I'm not sure if it's a 1930s house. That's
It might
all.
have been rebuilt
Yeah.
on the same plot.
Yeah, that's what. But you're right. I did that, and I showed my wife, and she said you are really sad. But you
I've been
know
doing the
what?
same with my family
As
tree
John
recently.
Evans' wife has
I
already
was
said,
gonna
this is
say.
nerdy shit, right? So it's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah. I can see already us having a sister pod, the
Oh
wives and
yeah.
girlfriends.
The nerdy shit.
God,
But
have you
yeah,
heard the latest rubbish that those lot were talking about
but I
last
love,
week?
but Ian, but I love that. That's what I love that you did that because that's exactly what I did when I found the address
You know what
because
Excellent.
I've written too?
Google Earth, you can do
I've
that
been
now, can't
doing
you?
that. I've been doing that with my family tree recently. I'm not going to go on a tangent here, but I have been. That's Paul's job. But I've been doing that with my family tree, so it's been great seeing
Brilliant.
which trees
Brilliant.
exist and
I
which don't.
must admit, I'd done the same with one of my old Roy the Rovers comics. I Googled the address
Ah,
before I completely forgot that it was my own comic that I'd bought and it was delivered to me and it was my house.
God. And it might not have been a word, but another little anecdote from Goal that will be on your bingo card somewhere.
Oh,
and
I
fi
could.
oh, there we go, there we go.
There it is.
And the final one for
Oh,
Collector's
look at
Corner from
that.
me was
Oh
Look
I
yeah.
at
got this in the same shop, which is the Tiger Annual 1982, £4. Again, I mean that was £4 as well. The champion that was just £4 as well. Absolute bargain. When you think,
Yeah.
if you got it on eBay, you'd be paying for it
Oh,
with postage,
crikey.
wouldn't
Yeah.
you?
Yeah. Yeah.
And just on this, and it's got some great stories in there. It's got a great
Mhm.
Billy's boots, which is I think the actual artist is Mike Weston in this one, which
Yeah.
is he didn't always do Billy's boots, but this is interesting, and I've been corresponding with Barry Tomlinson about this. There's a Johnny Cougar story in now,
Yeah.
and
Brilliant.
it's about this character called the Mutant, and I'm showing it
I
on
was
the
going to say, I was
screen
just
there.
about to say, he's not fighting the Hulk, is he?
No, it
Yeah.
looks like it, doesn't it? I don't know where you
Yeah.
got the ideas from, but
Yeah.
so I won't go through the whole Johnny Cougar story, but it's a good story. But what is interesting is that this mutant is, it beats everybody, and in fact, so much that nobody would wrestle against him. So Johnny is tricked into actually fighting against the mutant, and he can't beat him. And so it's halfway through, and he's talking to Bill McLean like his boss, and there's a panel there, and you see there it says
Yeah.
snap out of it.
Yeah.
And what does it say there? What does Johnny Cougar say? Can you read that one there, guys?
Is it
Uh,
ask Barry Tomlinson, not me? He wrote the script.
fantastic. Yeah. Brilliant.
So absolutely, thanks, Ian. Yeah, because
Wow.
he goes, snap out of it,
That
Johnny. You've got to beat this guy. And Johnny Cougar goes, ask Barry Tomlinson, not me. He write this script. So
wow, that
I took a snapshot of that and I sent it to Barry. So, oh, what's this, Barry? A bit of
yeah.
self-promotion. And he he swore blind. First of all, we thought that somebody else has kind of touched it up or something like that. I said, no, it's actually in the annual.
Yeah.
And I think he's slightly embarrassed of his shameless self-promotion, so much so that he said that please mention the fact that Sandy Barnes was the artist and David Vanderput was the
Wow.
did the lettering.
I hope I don't embarrass Mr. Tomlinson even more. And I was trying to find it, but I couldn't find it. But when Ian was doing his wonderful Doctor Who in football, and I
Oh,
think
thanks very
I might
much.
have interrupted and said about, football world crossing with science fiction. I don't know if people remember this, and I'm sorry, I can't remember the year now. But when Danefield United won the league title, and Barry Tomlinson did appear, but I think the character's name was
Oh yeah,
Zorg from
no,
Farg,
Farg. Yeah, it's from
Farg from
Eagle.
2000 AD, or Eagle was it?
Yeah.
So football has interacted with science fiction before because they celebrated Danefield United's league title in that.
That's right. It
And of
did.
course,
Yeah.
Barry Tomlinson appeared, and if you remember, the artist Doug Maxted also appeared in that one.
So
So
yeah,
interesting.
absolutely. So yeah, that's it. That's my collector's
Cool.
corner. But I do know Bygone's got some great collector's corner when he's back on from his suspension. If he comes back, I mean, I don't know if
No,
we'll have to
wow.
ask the
Uh,
ask the listeners if what they what their
Well, I
thoughts are.
must admit, I gotta say, his influence. I'm already mute. You're skating on thin ice whilst I'm in charge, and I think it's bygones
Blimey.
influence. So I must admit, it's definitely going to have to go to the pod board. But watch this space, listeners. And I was just going to say,
Go on, you go. Go on.
as we've mentioned there, I was going to round off collector's corner in a minute, but what I was going to say, as Mute has fantastically demonstrated, friend of the show, and like I like to say, you're all friends of the show, but from Melvin, who's kindly allowed us to show some of his recent purchases. We'd love to hear from you. Any of your recent purchases, any story behind it, any particular reason, or just, hey, look what I managed to get in a second-hand store that Paul Tangent Richardson cannot find, no matter where he searches. But please, we'd love to hear from you. And of course, also, if you even feel that strongly and you think you've got an absolutely golden one, come on, see what I did there, Ian. Come on and show it as well in person.
Yes.
Before we move on, though, this is not so much of a collector's corner, but it is part of it. But I'm just going to show that I'm not just, I do, in fact, in my collection, and I don't even know how it was purchased. This is the Doctor Who Annual 1979.
Oh,
and
wow.
that's in my collection, and I've had that. That was obviously purchased for me when I was at that tender age of about 8 or 9, without giving away my years. And it's interesting to note as I flip through this.
So this is actually yours. It was bought for you, was it?
Yeah, it was bought for me for that.
What
Christmas,
address is on that? So we can go to
1980.
Google Earth.
There is no address on it as it's an annual. So but can I just say it's interesting? You can tell it's a present because remember they used to have the price and it's
yes.
So as a young lad, I was not allowed to see how much whoever an aunt, an uncle, or my father, purchased that for me.
Clipped annuals. Is that why?
Yeah.
People taking the price off.
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Yeah. It would have had the price on it there. So they've clipped it off, so I wouldn't have known. So anyway, I just wanted to share that, and of course relevant to this. But if you might indulge me, and I do apologise, and I don't know if this is still about, and I'm turning this into a little bit of the Paul and Ian show. Now, I believe this is actually rugby union, but I don't know if you'd have been aware of this one-off comic, which is the story of Bledden. Yeah,
I'm aware of that.
Bledden Bowen, is it?
Yeah. And it's actually a true story when this team took on the All Blacks at Cardiff Arms Park.
1905.
And it's actually fantastic. I know because I don't want to show too much, obviously, to listeners on the YouTube channel because fantastic little addition. And what I liked about this, which really appealed to me, and when I first saw it, I wasn't aware it was true. And I, in fact, a work colleague of mine, a friend of mine, and I contacted him, and he was over the moon. He's not really into comics, but his dad used to speak to him about this actual match that took place, and he was really pleased to hear it, and he purchased it. But I wanted to show you. You've got this one here, but then look, they also did one where they kind of can you see the cracks to try and make it look like aged comic as well, to make it an old comic. So there is actually two versions of the comic, and of course you know what I'm like. I purchased both, the new one, and then the other thing that I will go through, and I've grabbed this.
Can I interject to say, listeners, before we started this, Paul was like, "Oh no, I've got nothing on Collector's Corner." Now half an hour really.
Yeah, but this is some purchases. These were months ago, but they actually also on the site sold artwork from the comic as well.
So he's now on screen. He's showing the actual original artwork.
Of those
is that original artwork?
Artworks. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I mean,
who's the artist?
Do
you know the artist?
I don't know actually. I'm sure it's in the comic, but
okay.
So, and that's what, again, I really like that, that's it. And that's in my folder, which has got some of some original Roy of the Rovers artwork. And when I purchased the shares on Striker as well, I've got some lovely Rock of the Reds, some lovely David Skew artwork there. But so I just thought, obviously, as I say, those were purchased some months ago now, but I thought with our special guest and the Doctor Who theme of the show, it worked quite well.
I misread it at first, by the way. It was Bledden Bowen, wasn't it? But it was 1953 Cardiff's win over New Zealand.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah, I was thinking initially it was the 1905 Wales win. But
Cardiff, Wales 13, New Zealand 8. It's it's fantastic. I mean, I would
We're now,
say,
we're, sorry,
obviously,
are we now the official #1 rugby comic
I
podcast?
think without, it might be a bit amiss to claim the title, but I'm certainly not aware of another one
Top
out there.
three.
And
Top three.
I'm happy to state the fact that I think we're equal #1 at least, to be quite
Listen,
honest.
we're already Britain's European, worldwide number one
Well,
comic football podcast in Britain.
with the soon to be happening in the next months with the football season coming to a close, I'm sure Channel 5 are going to be showing some games. And I'm not sure. I'm a fan of the idea and the concept. I'm not a fan of the way FIFA have gone about it, but the revamped World Club
Oh
Cup,
God.
because actually
Oh,
I think, well, yeah, but I think that football shouldn't be European centric, and I think African clubs and Asian clubs should be invited to the party. But anyway, that's going to be a massive tangent. But I was going to say, with that this summer, I think we'll start to proclaim ourselves exactly as the world #1 football comic based podcast. But
absolutely.
more of that in the future, listeners. So, well, I think it's time maybe to mention the social media.
Hang on.
Oh,
Oh, hang
yeah,
on.
go on,
Hang
go.
on. Hello? Who's that?
We can hear you, girl.
No, there's someone at the door.
There's
Hang on.
someone at the door. Go on, let them in the
Ah,
Is there
studio.
somebody at the door?
Hang on.
somebody.
Oh,
Oh,
hey, you went ahead without me. Oh, it's Joyce Cotton here. Hello, everybody.
hello, Ma.
Oh, that is
I
that
didn't.
money. Where's Ethel and little Willie?
Oh dear.
Oh God.
I didn't want to mention it because I must admit the lack of dot. I wondered if Sugargate had reared its ugly head again. But anyway,
Okay.
I thought I'd leave it there.
Hang on. Oh, hang on. There's someone else that wants to say
Oh,
hello as well.
here we go.
Here we
Here
go.
we go. He's found his voice.
Who's that? Oh, hang on. You've got to come in on someone's hand. Okay, all right. Okay. They're just coming to the microphone. Hang on. Yeah, you won't believe it. It's only bloody Ed the Duck. Yeah.
What?
Oh God, it's not just deceased human beings.
Oh,
Hang on, there's one more. Who's that?
Just give him one more.
puppet. It's only bloody Lord Charles. By Jove, you silly ass. By Jove. Right, carry on.
Right. So, been a fantastic
Wrap it up
episode,
quick.
and I think it's
What,
time
from the
to go
last 2
through
minutes?
the social media websites. Well, we won't blame anybody for that, Podfather, otherwise known as Goal. But so you can find and read the content, and please, as we've said, please share your feedback. And it's a good way to get in touch with us, like we said, for Collectors Corner, if there's anything you want to share on that. So you've got the wonderful Roy of the Rovers comic 40 Years On, in brackets Melchester Rovers, by a friend of the show, Ed Taylor. Then you have the Champ, We Are United, and Football Picture Story monthly fans as well. Sorry, excuse me. Then there's Striker World, obviously Warbury Warriors, Nick Jarvis, Pete Nash, and there's a lot going on in the community there. So I say get on there. There's some good deals out there as well. Then we also have the mighty world of British comics, which of course isn't just football-based comics. And there is one that I must admit, Bicon's been mentioned, and I'm not sure I've got the right group actually, because there's don't know if anybody else, or I might just leave it there and wait for
Is it
Bygone. There
caravan?
might be
Caravan. We love
caravans
caravans
are
and stuff
us,
like that.
summer special, Billy's Boots, Hot Shot Hamish.
Hamish.
Hamish, yeah, no, God, come on, we've only just got those listeners back. So that's the Facebook groups. Now, cast your mind back 106, maybe 7 episodes, when you would turn around and go, Rab, give us the web address. Can you do it yourself?
Hello, Rap here. So, if you want to go where it all started, www.proboards.com.
No, you've got it wrong.
Oh. So yeah, where it all started, the message board www.champweareunited.proboards.com. A great resource, 55,000 plus posts, some great stuff on there, especially from our good friend Eagle Rich, Richard Woods. It's a great site. It's inactive because most of the stuff takes place on the Facebook groups, of course, but you're welcome to join, as have a couple of people in the last week.
Well, what can I say? Well done, Eagle Rich, because you've allowed Gold to get away from mentioning that there's 55,767 posts and 54,761 of those are his own. But well done, Eagle Rich, for the other just under 1,000 posts. Sorry, Gold, come on. He's quit again. Look, he's quit so much, he's gone mute. Well, without further ado, I don't know. Blue Sky, X, Twitter, what on earth are these things called anymore? Mute button.
Yes, we are also on Blue Sky. So we're at champcomics.bsky.social. We're on Twitter or X at champ_R, at champ_R, ARE. And we're on YouTube. So get on there and like and subscribe to us there. We are We Are United.
And I will say, I only did 27,500 of those 55,000. I did.
But Dot did another 15, didn't she?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, he only did 25,000. Dot did 5,000. Frankie Carson did 3,000. George Formby the rest.
Did Dot ever understand computers?
He said to the producer,
"An honest Bob for the news of Harkin. It's an interesting." I'll move on.
And with that, I was actually going to come over to you, our podfather. What are your thoughts, and do you want to say your goodbyes and any other news you might have us from this episode 107?
Well, I mean, Ian Golden coming on, brilliant as always, fantastic. I got very excited, of course. Some brilliant stuff there. Thank you for coming on again, Ian. You're always going to be welcome. And I hope we can liaise on, like I said, doing something with the Eighth Doctor at some point.
Certainly. And we'll do that, and I'll do the tough game in the future as well. And I believe that his name's escaped me. There's another rugby league one as well, which I can relate to from the 1960s, which I believe the tough game was based on.
Definitely
yeah, we can relate to that as well at some point.
I'll tell you what, it certainly is a golden age. Thank you very much. So, yes, I would just like to thank the listeners for listening, as always, which they haven't done yet because we've not published it until later on. But you know what I'm trying to say. Good luck to myself in my big house move in 3 days' time. And I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Bye.
Cheers, Goal. Mute, over to you.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, well hosted, Paul. I can see how much time and effort you put into it. It really made a difference this time.
There was a lot of work went into this one.
Yeah. Great to see you, Ian, again. Great to see you, my friend. Excellent section, and look forward to you coming back on again. We've got some other stuff in the pipeline. We're still trying to get an interview with the DC Thompson guys, so hopefully that'll come in. I'm doing some stuff on the life story of Blackie Gray. I know Ozzy Lee asked for that, so I've done the 50s and the 60s, so I need to do the rest of that.
Well, now you've got to cut in his bookstore as well, in Doctor Who as well. So yeah, you've got to find.
That was an absolutely amazing spot. Well played.
So yeah, excellent stuff. Hope you enjoy it, listeners, and see you next time.
Brilliant. Well, before I wrap up and say my final words, let's get a last word from our very special guest, his second appearance. And as you can hear, I can feel a third and fourth appearance because we've already got other subjects lined up for him. But Ian.
Thanks very much, everyone. And thanks for listening, people. And certainly we'll be back in the future. I've really enjoyed it. Looking forward to it.
Brilliant. Thank you, Ian. Thank you so much. Well, yeah, it's been a fantastic pod, and we have ventured into still football, but realms, and that's what we like, to go to corners that we might not all be familiar. And we went into a science fiction world, and I think we've made mention of it. Maybe we'll revisit. There was a Red Dwarf special as well, Roy of The Rovers. So we might give us incentive to look at that. Yeah, see, Ian, there you go.
Magazine. from the
Yes, that's it.
Smegazine.
The
Oh,
Smegazine,
the one
exactly.
thing I didn't, last thing I didn't point out was at the end of the story, the Nightmare Game about Delchester, it did say at the bottom, join the Doctor for a brand new adventure next issue, chums.
Brilliant, brilliant.
So a new next podcast, chums.
Chumps, exactly.
Oh,
So, and as Mute said, obviously we're hoping to get some great interviews with the team from DC Thompson. We've got some Blackie Grey stuff coming up. Bygone will be back with well, goodness knows what, a
Caravans.
collector's corner caravan, some summer special. Of course, we will be looking to continue the United story from the Champ comic. I'm potentially looking to do another season's review of Kings Bay, and there's a little summer story of Hotshot Hamish as well. I can't say it anymore either now.
Hamish.
God,
Hotshot Hamish.
bygone, what have you done to me? I can only
Can you get that
apologise.
wrong?
I don't know. Unbelievable. Anyway, who'd have thought we'd have
Who'd have
seen
thought?
Doctor Who score a vital penalty to save the universe against the Vikings? And that is how you bring football comics to life. And this has been episode 107. Look forward to seeing you in 108. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.